3 days after my boyfriend proposed, I came up with a plan to make him pay for what he did. My boyfriend proposed with this gorgeous vintage ring with sapphires and diamonds in an intricate setting. Once I was done crying and freaking out and saying yes 100 times, I asked where he got it and he told me it was his grandmother's ring that had been passed down through his family for generations. I was so touched that he wanted me to have something with that much history and meaning. I posted photos on Instagram that night with close-ups of the ring and captions about how lucky I was to be marrying into such a wonderful family. My friends flooded the comments with congratulations. Then on Monday morning, a woman I didn't know sent me a direct message. That ring belonged to my grandmother. I need to know where your fiancé really got it. I looked at her profile and realized she was my fiancé's ex-girlfriend from 5 years ago. I felt annoyed because I assumed she was just jealous and trying to start drama. I messaged her back saying the ring had been in his family for generations and she must be mistaken. She responded with 3 old family photos showing the exact same ring on an elderly woman's hand. That's my grandmother. The ring disappeared from my apartment 5 years ago, right after we broke up. She included a police report from 5 years ago listing stolen jewelry with a detailed description that matched my ring perfectly, including the engraving inside the band that said EMH 1952 for her great-grandmother's initials. I agreed to meet her at a diner because I needed to understand what was happening. We sat across from each other comparing the photos, and I felt sick as I realized the ring on my finger was definitely the one from her family pictures. She told me the ring had disappeared along with several other pieces of jewelry after a bad breakup when my fiancé had come to collect his things from her apartment. She'd suspected him but had no proof. We started talking more and she mentioned other items that had gone missing, describing them in detail. My stomach dropped because I recognized some of the descriptions. When I got home, I went through my jewelry box carefully. 3 pieces that I thought were real diamonds and gold were obviously cheap fakes when I looked closely. He'd been stealing from me too, probably replacing my real jewelry with costume pieces bit by bit. I called the ex back and we spent the next 2 hours on the phone piecing together his pattern. We realized he'd probably done this to other women before us. I wanted to go to the police immediately, but she told me they wouldn't do anything without concrete evidence. And even with the police report from 5 years ago, he'd probably just claim he found the ring or bought it somewhere. I sat there furious, thinking about how he'd proposed with stolen property, and had been systematically robbing me for months. Then I had an idea. I told the ex I knew how we could catch him and get everything back. We would set a trap. We came up with a plan over the next 2 days. I would tell my fiancé that my wealthy aunt was coming to visit and needed somewhere safe to store an expensive diamond necklace for a few days. We set up hidden cameras in my apartment. I staged a phone call with my aunt, right in front of him, talking loudly about how the necklace was worth over $50,000 and how nervous I was about keeping it at my place. I left a fancy jewelry box on my dresser in plain sight. The next day, I told him I was going out with friends and would be gone all afternoon. The ex and I sat in her car watching the camera feed on my phone. Within an hour of me leaving, he was in my bedroom opening the jewelry box. We had him on camera, but we weren't going to call the police.